If you have trouble pooping, then you need a garden. Yes, we are in fact going there. Hello, my name is Nicole Burke. I'm the owner of Gardenary, and we're on a mission to get everyone into the garden, especially if you're having trouble pooping. I know. Not the video you were expecting to see, but we got to go there. We got to go there because we're all having trouble going. So today's episode is dedicated to the white throne. We're going to be talking about how to make pooping easier, better, healthier, and to do it all while growing your own garden. If you've got anything related to your gut or your stomach that hurts or makes pooping and just going through your whole digestive system troublesome or painful, then you might want to consider adding a garden to your life, especially after you watch this video. So number one is the dirt. So we now live in a super clean world, at least here in the United States. We're all about cleanliness. We're all about everything being, completely sanitized, especially after 2020. Like everything needs a good Lysol rub down every 5 seconds, right? And that can be good in terms of germs and, things like viruses that we don't want to catch, but it's really not good in terms of our gut because our gut actually thrives off of microorganisms, and we are losing and missing a lot of that in our stomachs all across the United States. And we're also all spending way more time indoors. So instead of being outside playing on a playground or running or, rolling around in the grass, we're laying on a couch with a phone and watching Netflix. And so we're missing those opportunities to interact with nature and for our bodies to just be around natural things. And those natural things just naturally end up inside of our body. We breathe them through our nose and our mouth. They might enter into our fingers or our fingernails, and then later when we're eating, those things come into our bodies. So the less time that we spend outdoors, the less time that we spend in nature, the less opportunity all those little microorganisms have to enter our body. Being inside and being in a fully sanitized environment all the time isn't helping you, it's hurting you. And so that's the first thing, is a garden puts you around dirt. A garden actually puts your hands in the soil, and you actually need to get dirty. So if you're not pooping, if you're having trouble pooping, it could just be because you're too clean. Ironic, I know. So just putting your hands in some soil, planting, putting seeds in the ground, being out around nature, having your hands on top of plants, around soil, around compost, those little touches add up, and they come slowly and get mixed up inside your gut, in your microbiome, and they start to move things along. The second reason you need a garden to help you start pooping is because garden vegetables just hit differently. So you may be saying, Nicole, I know I need to eat fiber. I know I need more water. I know I need more vegetables. Like that's the answer to pooping more. And so I buy those things from the grocery store. I don't need to grow them myself. But wait, so those things at the grocery store, they do count, but they count differently than the ones that you grow in your garden. And I'm going to tell you how. So first off, you're going to be eating food when you eat it from your garden that is so much fresher. There's no way you can compare the two, right? So fresher vegetables is going to change the way your body interacts with those vegetables. The vegetables at the grocery store, they were harvested about 2 or 3 weeks ago. They were then packaged and treated so that they will last through the journey to get to the grocery store. Then they take the journey, which is probably thousands of miles to get to the grocery. Then they sit on the grocery store shelves for 1 or 2 weeks. Then they come home to your refrigerator, where they then sit on the shelf for 1 or 2 weeks, and then they go into the trash. Just kidding. Hopefully not. And then they get eaten, right? So you've got probably a 4, 5, 6 week lead time from that vegetable leaving the field to going into your body. Versus from the garden, you are literally picking it, bringing it inside, and making a dish right then and there. Literally this morning, I picked kale, Swiss chard, and green onions, went upstairs and made an omelet. I ate my breakfast. It was garden to table in 5 minutes. That kale, Swiss chard, and green onion is going to hit my body so differently than if I had bought those from the grocery store. And let's talk about how. So first is water content. We know that to poop better, we need more water. Water is what moves all the food down through our system and gets the bad stuff exiting on time, right? And so the foods that we eat, the vegetables, we need to be eating foods that have higher water concentration. Now, the vegetables you buy from the grocery, they're going to have some water in them, but nothing compared to the vegetable you harvest right out of the garden and eat right that day. Those plants, those leaves, those fruits, they are going to have a much higher water concentration because they didn't have time to lose it, right? Reason number 2 is more fiber. Same thing, the plants that you're eating from the grocery store, they've been dead for a long time. They are in the process, like it or not, of decomposing. They are on their way to the compost pile, right? We're just kind of catching them right out of the fridge 5 seconds before they do that. So they've been dead for 4, 5, 6 weeks, and their fibers have been slowly breaking down that entire time. Whereas the kale, the Swiss chard, the whatever you pull from the garden that day, those fibers are all very much still tight, which means when you ingest those 2 different kinds of vegetables, the grocery ones, they're going to break down really fast. They're not going to take nearly the amount of energy and effort to break them down in your digestive system, which means they're not doing nearly the work that the garden fresh vegetables will do. So you're not just going to get way more water from a garden fresh vegetable, but way more fiber too. Next up, you're going to get way more diversity. So the grocery store can only carry certain kinds of vegetables that travel well and store well. In your garden, you don't have to worry about that. You can grow all different kinds of things. You can grow big fat carrots and short skinny carrots. You can grow 5 different kinds of kale. You can grow 6 different kinds of basils. You can grow 20 different kinds of tomatoes. You have no limit as to the diversity that you can grow in your garden, but the grocery store, they're limited. So what they figured out is in our guts, it's not that we need just one kind of microorganism, it's that we need a ton. And they found that certain plants have certain microorganisms in them. And so that the more diverse your diet can be, the more diverse the plants that you eat, the more diverse your gut microbiome can be, which means it'll digest your food better, get it through your system, and help you poop. And this isn't just something I made up because I love a garden and I want to convince you to have one too. Studies have actually shown that gardeners have more variety and more fiber in their diets, and those things show up in their digestive tract as well. So gardeners really do have more fun because our food is way more fresh. It's got lots more water, lots more fiber, and it's so much more full of variety than the stuff at the grocery. The next reason that you need a garden to help you start pooping is because you need more of a routine. The garden gets us into a routine. Why? Because it needs you. It's going to need you to come out and do a little something every single day. And that little bit of routine is enough to trigger your body to say, hey, she's in a place of rest right now, so we're safe to do our thing. And there's nothing more exciting to get you out of bed than knowing that the plant babies that you planted yesterday or the seeds you put in last week might have just popped up and be ready to grow. Then another wonderful time to give that same kind of message to your body is after dinner. So you can send your body a totally different message where instead of sitting, scrolling on your phone, you head out to the garden to walk around your plants. The final reason why you need a garden to help you poop is for the feelings. So we are in a place, we're in a time where stress is just thrown at us all day long. And if you use this thing for any regularity with your phone, if you're on your phone, if you're on a computer, if you're on a screen, for any amount of the day, you are hit pretty much consistently with drops of cortisol. When you step into that garden and you see green instead, it literally sends the opposite message. And I'm not exaggerating. It says to you, calm, peace, take a breath. And that's why I go straight to the bathroom after a walk in the garden, because those are the messages that our guts are literally waiting to hear. They're waiting to get that little drop of serotonin. They're waiting to get that little drop of dopamine. So let's solve the problem of not pooping together. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your mom and dad, tell your sister. The answer to the poop problem is more gardens. And I hope I've convinced you today that a garden is absolutely worth it. Of course, it's beautiful. Of course, it's productive, but it also helps you go poop. If you think this is absolutely weird and terrible, please tell me in the comments. If this was helpful to you, please share it with a friend or family member so that they don't suffer from constipation either. You can learn more about growing your own garden and when to plant all these things we're talking about in today's episode at gardenary.com/poop. Just kidding. /calendar. This is where you can get the Gardenary Calendar for free. You put in 2 dates and we give you all the rest of the dates so you know when to plant everything in your garden. And then you and me will be planting, we'll be growing, we'll be going out to our garden in the morning and the evening. And then we're just going to feel so like empty of all the bad stuff and so full of all the good. Thank you for bearing with me through this episode. I know it was awkward and weird and potty language field, but we had to go there. You know what I mean? We just had to go there. Thanks for listening to the Grow Yourself podcast. I'll see you next time.